Hello and welcome to Cavell's Cloud Conversations podcast. Today is a very special episode, mainly because Finbar Begley has left me completely to my own devices and I'm unchaperoned on the podcast. And I'm joined by Trent Webby, who is Cavell's head of Asia Pacific. How are you doing, Trent?
Hey, Patrick, it's good, mate. We're living our best life down here in good old New Zealand, back home with the family, and we're looking real forward to what's going to be an epic week next week with the Cavell Summit Asia Pacific's inaugural event. Yeah, pretty exciting.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what we wanted to talk about. So Trent heads up our Asia Pacific Cavell division down under. And next week, as you said, Trent, on the 25th of February, we are hosting our inaugural event in APAC. Can you just give us a little bit of the background of why, we've sort of founded an APAC event and what the key focus is going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started off actually with a little bit of an idea from a few of our friends from down this way, who've come along, been loyal customers of Cavell, and have come along to our Cavell Summit events in Europe and North America, and they always, plug the funny joke of when are you going to come down to Australia, when are you going to come down to the Asia Pacific space, and it was the perfect storm. So there's a few personal reasons for this event, but also a lot of professional reasons. And a couple of those professional reasons were we did a market entry report, which we titled infamously Project Kangaroo. No offense to anybody or any of the kangaroos down there. But the idea with it was we just wanted to check out what the market looked like down here from a research perspective, as well as an events perspective. And because that's what we specialize here, obviously, at Cavell. And so we did a little bit of that back in June, kicked that off in June. It was about 3 months. We did a little bit of research, and based on the findings that we saw there, we came to a conclusion that we'd just like to test the waters. So what we've done is we've kicked off this event. It's not going to be a massive event this first year, although in saying that, we have got a good number of delegates coming along from a range of different parts of the industry, which is really, really exciting. We'll talk a bit more about that later on. But based on a lot of stuff that we found from that report, the market analysis, historical growth trends, some of the future growth projections, we thought, this is a really good market to enter. So we're going to test the waters next week, and we've got some familiar faces coming along from both international and the local market, but we've got a whole heap of new faces, which I think excites me the most about this event. Yeah,
it's always really interesting because I think we're a primarily North American, Western European focused research business, but we've always done global research. We've done research in Africa and LATAM and APAC previously. But I think because of the English speaking nature of the Australia, New Zealand market and more widely in APAC as well, it was a logical stepping stone. And as you said, a lot of the APAC-based firms that we speak to out of Australia look to the US and the UK as the obvious expansion markets in terms of the sort of language geographically. So it makes a lot of sense in terms of synergies. What on the day? So with 25th of February, what's the sort of plan in terms of agenda? What are the sort of coverage areas that we're going to be covering?
Yeah, so a big range. So if anyone who knows about our summit events, they're obviously nothing new to a lot of our delegates. But if you are new to what we do, the summit series is more of a general overview of the cloud communications market. And what we do is, being analysts, being a research company, we pick at what we think is the kind of the hot topics or the key topics, and we create quite a wild, diversified agenda. So the things that we've figured that would be valuable to the ANZ or the APAC space, that we find interesting on a global standard. We're talking a lot around the CX space. We always have a nice piece around the Microsoft Operator Connect, and we've got a bunch of their accelerators from the local market coming along, and it's actually going to be moderated by Microsoft as well, which is one of the first for us, which will be really exciting to see how that unfolds. We're doing some stuff around value-added services and a range of other areas, but I guess one part that I'm really excited about is I'm kind of involved within this company with Cavell as well. So not only do I have the experience of running a lot of these events in the past and watching them from an operational point of view, I'm now going to be part of the program. We've actually done a bunch of research in the area, in the industry down in Australia, around the enterprise market. And so what we'll be doing is we provide a keynote and as well as a panel discussion around kind of what the customer wants from that space and how that compares, to the global standard of what we've seen in Western Europe and what we've seen in North America and the UK. So it's going to draw on some really interesting conclusions, which I think will open some eyes for the local market, but also open the eyes of a lot of our international customers too, who may not actually know what's happening down in Australia and see there's actually quite a lot of opportunity down here that's here already and is forthcoming. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I also have to plug, and it gives me sometimes some pain, but obviously we've got Matt Townend coming along. Doesn't give me pain that he's coming along, but he'll be given his State of the Market opening keynote, which always seems to be the most popular keynote of the Cavell Summit series. But that will be basically a broad overview comparative between, again, those two, the international market and the local market, with a few of those insights from our enterprise report. We also have some fireside chats happening. We'll do some stuff around investment. So again, a big array of different topics there. So there'll be something for everybody in the market to come and learn about. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, and we've obviously been working on the research, and I wanted to talk about that in a little bit of detail. So what we wanted to try and provide is both an angle for external companies looking at Australia, New Zealand, and APAC as a potential expansion market. So we've done some market sizing in terms of the cloud communications market, some forecasts for the region, but also for those APAC providers, we've looked at the wider expansion markets for them. So there are some key expansion markets elsewhere in APAC. So we were told Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, a particularly interesting market. So we've got some of our global market sizing data for those markets. And then also, as you said, we'll share some of our more established research on the key expansion markets like the US, the UK, and Western Europe as well. And as you said, Trent, what we've tried to do is combine that with both our industry research from where we speak to service providers and vendors, but also an enterprise survey specifically on Australia, finding out what businesses think about technology, what are their preferences when they buy it, and there's some really interesting conclusions there. First of all, I didn't realize that the Australian market was so sizable in terms of cloud communications users. So in Australia, we've got a comparable amount of users, around 2 million users, which is comparable to the French market in terms of the size of cloud comms users. So it's a really sizable market. We're anticipating really accelerated growth in the market as well. As you said, Microsoft hold a really heavy presence there, and Operator Connect's been particularly popular. So I think there should be some really interesting insights, both from people who want to look at APAC as an expansion region, but also who want to look elsewhere into the wider world. So hopefully we'll be able to share as much sort of insight on those different pieces as possible. One thing I did want to ask you about as well was in terms of, we've got some great sponsors this year: Access 4, Akixi, New Wave, the lanyard sponsors, Cool Cabinet on recording, and we've also got UC Today as media partner. So I just wanted to just give a little shout out to the sponsors as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if I could touch on a few of the other names that are attending the event, but actually were a big help to us making this kick off. Obviously, when we did Project Kangaroo, that early market entry report, we did get a chance to interview a few of the guys down that way. So, the likes of Swoop, Channel UC, who's now part of Access 4, Comms Group, who would come along and speak on our Operator Connect panel, Broadsource, who are strong partners and customers of ours, from long-serving loyalty there as well. Ring Central, Net Sapiens, these sort of names are the guys that we kind of knew. We tapped on the shoulders, and they gave us some very, very valuable insights about what's actually happening down here and where the opportunities were. So just maybe a shout out to them as well. They're not necessarily sponsors, but big supporters of the event, all in attendance as well, and excited to see what comes of this event as well. Yeah. That's
a really good point, because everyone who knows Cavell, and even if you're less familiar with Cavell, all of our research effectively is garnered from the community. We speak to service providers, we speak to telcos, and as you say, Trent, we wouldn't be able to do that without the support of local partners. I just wanted to give, and I'm reluctant to do so, Trent, on the call, but credit to you in terms of organising. I was looking at the speaker lineup in sort of planning for this call. It's a really great array of speakers. As you said, we've got Leon Wright moderating a panel from Microsoft. We've got Brad Milne, Chief Operating Officer of Access 4. We've got the CEO of 8x8 coming down for the event, COO of New Wave, Mark Bennell, who I know very well, plus a host of other sort of leading speakers from different vendors around the industry. So I think you've managed to put together a really great lineup of speakers, and I'm sure the agenda will create lots of interesting talking points.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's the two things that I love about the Cavell Summit events, actually, which you probably hit on there. It's not necessarily it's the global insights, information that we've found and we bring to the market, and that very juicy pieces of information. But it's definitely around that community, and that comes from, again, the support from our speakers, support from our delegates that come along. You're going to come along, you're going to meet some really good people, have some really good conversations. You know, we've got the decision makers in the room, so it's basically a free feast. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. We leverage all of that insight from industry leaders. So I think the key messages are, if you want some insight on Australia, New Zealand, APAC in terms of market sizing, enterprise trends, but also if you're from the region and you're looking to expand elsewhere globally, we're sharing some of our more global stats from the Cavell side. And as Trent said, a really great sort of lineup of speakers. Trent, in terms of plugs, I know you mentioned that the event's sort of slightly spiraled in terms of how big it's got. Have we still got capacity if anyone wants sort of last minute tickets? And again, forgive me for my poor knowledge of, Australian. We're in Sydney. Australia is a big place. So, but there are still some tickets available, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've still got tickets, and doors will be open all the way up until the day of the event. So, even on the day, on Tuesday, the 25th, if you're thinking you're in Sydney, if you want to come along for a cup of coffee and hear about some interesting stuff about the market, just pop on by. Our friendly team, Wendy and Matt, will be there on the door. They'll be happy to greet you. And it's going to be a great day. Even if you can only come for a part of it, come for some food and meet some really cool people. Should be great.
Yeah, so anyone in Sydney on the 25th, and if you're available, please do get in touch about attendance. I'm very jealous because I won't be there in person. I think one thing I know that not everyone's going to be able to make it to Sydney, but we should be able to. I know we'll be recording with our recording partner, Call Cabinet, so we should be able to get some of the insights out post event as well for people who are looking to learn about the market as well.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Thanks to Cool Cabinet there. They'll be having those on our YouTube channel, so you can check those out afterwards. It'll be all nice sound bites, so you can just watch them on your daily commute to work. Great.
Excellent. So for anyone who wants more information on the event, whether it's attending or general information, if you head to cavell.com/events, or reach out to Trent or myself on LinkedIn. Trent, I'm very jealous I'm not going to be there with you in person. It sounds like it's going to be a really great day. I'm really pleased with the research we've done, and hopefully it's of interest to everyone, both in the region and looking at APAC as an expansion market. So just wanted to thank you for coming onto the podcast and wish you all the best luck for next week.
Awesome. No worries, Patrick. And I'll make sure I apply the sunscreen. It's pretty cooking down here.